Howdy everybody, this is Shenanadoodles, and today I'm going to be showing to you how to make a Halo Master Chief helmet. This is completely my own design, and I thought it would be fun to show you all how to make it today. So let's get started. So we're going to need some form of green, it doesn't matter what kind of green. You can use gold like this one right here, or you could use a yellow, it doesn't matter what kind. And you're also going to need just some black. It doesn't matter what kind of black, just black. So the materials you're also going to need, or tools, is you're going to need your hook. It doesn't matter what kind of hook. This is a 3.75 millimeter. You're also going to need a little needle just to help with threading, and you're going to need also a pair of scissors. So let's get started. So first thing we're going to need to do is make the top of the head. So we're going to use our green and we're going to make a magic circle. If you don't know how to make a magic circle, it's fairly easy. You just take one end of the green, pinch it over your finger, and make an X shape around your finger like that. And then just drag it all the way up until you have two lines across the finger like that. Next, you're going to take your hook. You're going to go underneath this string right here. Make sure there's no excess threads. And then once you go underneath this one, you're going to grab this yarn right here and pull it through. It is a little tricky, so just be careful. And it should look like that. Once you have it like that, you can take your finger out and then just do one little stitch to lock it in place, and there you go, you have a magic circle. So from here you are going to do 6 single crochets inside the circle right here. So pull the yarn through and pull over. That's 1, 2, 3, came undone. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6 right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, once you're done with that, you can go ahead and take this little string right here, pull that until it starts to curl up just like that. Now, we're going to pull a little bit of some yarn out here so we have more room to work with. And this little string, this little stitch right here, we're going to go and take our hook and push it through. It does take a little bit of work to do, so you can just try to manhandle it like that. Just make sure that the hook goes through both of those loops. Then we're going to tighten this down and we're going to pull this loop through. But before we pull that loop through, let's go ahead and take this and tie it down so that it doesn't become undone. So make sure it's tight and just wrap it on top of the hook just like that. Then take your hook and then just make a single crochet in the hole that you just made. Oops. Mine just came undone, so give me just 1 second. Sometimes that happens. There we go. So like this, and then just thread it through. And then just go ahead and pull that extra string to the side and it should stay locked in place. Now, what we're going to do is do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So we did 6 already, so if we do 2 in each, that would make it 12. So we should end up with 12 stitches altogether. So we're going to go back into the very first stitch that we just did right there. We're going to push it through and do another single stitch just like that. And we're going to do that for all of the remaining stitches until we have 12 and 12. All right, so if you want to make sure that you counted want to make sure that you have 12 stitches, you can go ahead and just count them just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so once you have 12 stitches down, we're going to do another increase in stitches, but we're going to skip one every other stitch. So the way that's going to look is you're going to take the yarn, you're going to go through the first stitch just with one single stitch, just like this. And if you look closely at the project real quick, you see that this one looks a lot bigger than this stitch right here. Let me just get the camera focused real quick. There we go. So this one right here looks bigger than that one. That indicates that this one is a 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So that's where you're going to want to do your next 2 stitches in 1. So go ahead and just do 1 single crochet and another single crochet in that same spot. So it looks like that. And you know when you do it right is when it looks paired, when they are aligned with each other. And with that, you go to the next stitch right here and then just do 1 single crochet, just like that. And then you see another pair right there. Go ahead and do 2 more in that one. So that's 1 and 2. And then same thing with just the 1 right here. And you're going to do this all the way until you make it back to the center point, or when you have 18 stitches. Alrighty, so once you get about right here, just go ahead and make sure that you have 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 right there. Okay, so 18 stitches right here. Now, with this next part, we're going to make sure that we're going to count how many rows that we have so far. So this should be 1, 2, 3 rows. So for the whole project, for the Master Chief, he is 9 stitches. He is 9 rows at least. So we're going to want to do 9 rows, and this is going to be row number 4 at least. So on the 4th row, we're going to go ahead and do 5 single stitches all in one. Well, not in one stitch, I mean across. We're going to do 1 in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. Now on this last one, what we're going to want to do is pull and get some extra yarn out there, and we're going to go ahead and grab our gold yarn. Alright, so here we have our gold yarn, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our project and turn it onto the back side of it. And you see where we did our last stitch right there? We're going to stick the neat hook in between those 2 holes, just like that right there, and make sure that it stays on the back side of the loop right there. Now we're going ahead and take our gold, and we're going to make a loop through it. So go ahead and take it. You can make a loop like this if it helps, and just pull it through. You don't need to make a single stitch, you just need to pull it through. And now it should stay in place. Now we'll go back to our green, and we're going to go ahead and do 7 single stitches. So before we do those, we're going to do something that is a little confusing to understand why, but it will help at the very end. So if you look closely in between the stitches, you'll see that it has almost like a V shape, or here we go, that looks better. It has like a V shape almost right there. So with the first stitch right here, instead of going all the way through, we're actually going to go only halfway through right here, splitting the 2 in half, just like that. So we're actually going to crochet on this side, the side that's facing us. So you're going to take the green, push it through this side, and single stitch normally, like that. And we're going to do this 6 more times. So through the middle, towards the side facing you, and single crochet, single stitch. So that's 2, 3, it's a little tricky, 4, 5, 6, and last one right here, 7. That is 7 stitches all the way around. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull a little bit of some yarn over to the side, and we're going to work on that later. What we're going to do now is go to the gold, and we're going to start working on that. So, on the gold side, go ahead and get your hook through the loop, and give it a little bit of a pull so that way we can get rid of some of that extra yarn. Now, if you see real closely here, there is almost an edge to this right there. That is the front of the back side that we just worked. This is the front right here. So we're going to crochet with the gold in those spots. So with our first stitch, let's go ahead and get this little piece locked in place so it doesn't loosen the yarn. So we're going to go into the first stitch, which is this one right here. Pull it through just like that. Take this gold string and put it in place like that over the hook, and then single crochet like so. Pretty simple, doesn't take too much skill. Now we're going to do that 6 more times until we make it to this side right here. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This one right here, 7. Now, we're going to pull a little bit of some of the gold yarn back, and we're going to go ahead and move to the green. So with the green, this is where it gets a little confusing. So most of the tutorials, when you do a color swap like this, especially when you have 2 different colors opposing each other, oftentimes you have to cut the colored yarn right here and end it right there. But personally, I don't like ending it just right there. I like to have a continuous piece of string in case if I mess up or make a mistake throughout the way and I need to completely undo it. It's all one single string, and I don't need to worry about scraps. So one thing that I like to do is I take this side, the green, and I pull it through the opposing color, which is gold in this situation. I pull on both of the strings, and then I go into the next stitch over right here, and I poke that through, and I create a loop. Now, if it's done right, the gold should be in the middle of the greens. Then you could just do a simple stitch through, like that. And just go ahead and give the gold a nice little pull until it kind of just disappears into the green. And you are going to see it when you start to do a little bit more stitches. It's going to start poking out roughly right about there, but that's no big deal because we are going to be covering that up later. So this is now completed. You have a little bit of the visor done and merged with it. And if you look closely, you can also see the brim itself starting to form. So that's kind of the purpose of that. And it's also just really stylish in my opinion. I like that. So we're going to go ahead and finish one single crochet in each all the way through, and I'll meet you right when we get there. Okay, so we are now 1 stitch away from going into the gold. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into the back side right here on this stitch. You're going to, let me get closer so you can see better. This one right here, we're going to poke through and do a half stitch. So where we have 2 opposing strings right here. Now, we're going to take our gold and finish that stitch like that. Now, make sure when you do this that you have a little bit of some extra yarn inside, so that way it doesn't, if you don't have enough, it's going to be too tight for the project, and it's just going to squeeze everything together rather than letting it expand and move around. So after that, that's good. you can then tighten it down just a little bit, and then you can go ahead and go to the next gold stitch right here with the gold. Make sure you just pay close attention to where the threads are. I almost ruined it right there. So you go ahead and just start doing single crochets all the way until you make it right here to that 7th stitch. Alright, so right on this stitch right here, we're going to do the same thing that we kind of did right on this side where we swap the colors. So we're going to do a loop where we have 2 same color loops, and then we're going to switch it out with the green. And just like before, make sure you leave just a little bit of some extra inside, so that way you can that way it prevents it from tightening up the project. So just like that, go ahead, give the gold a little bit of a pull until it looks just like that. And then you can go ahead and go to the next stitch and do that back stitch just like before. This one right here. Just like that. Now, like I mentioned before, you can kind of see a little bit of that gold right there in between the cracks. You can either just move it around a little bit, kind of tuck it in to hide it, but we're not worried about it because we're going to be seeing it, we're going to be covering it up in just a few more stitches, or after this is done and we go on to the detailing. So after that's done, go ahead and do another row of single crochets all the way until you make it to the other side of the visor. Alright, so we are closing up to where that stitch was, and one more, and right here. So once you're right here on this stitch, you're actually going to do one more green stitch on that gold one, but a half stitch. So you're going to bring up 2 greens and then swap it with the gold. And like before, make sure there's extra left to prevent tightening, and then just pull it through just like that. And then just hunker down the green, and then go ahead and continue doing the same thing with gold. So this will essentially help shrink the visor as we go through it, because just like with this one right here, you can kind of see the visor go down with it, and that kind of helps just add some dynamic to it. So we did 7 gold stitches up here. This one you should end up with 5 gold stitches. So we have 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one, go ahead and do a color swap like that. And then go ahead and finish it off with green. There we go. So when you look closely at it, you can kind of see how it shrinks down a little bit. The change isn't noticeable at first, but once we get to like maybe the 3rd or 4th row, you're going to start noticing a lot more. And once we get to right about here, we're going to make sure we're counting our rows and just be sure that we are close to 9. Once we get close to like say 6 or 7, we want to start decreasing, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's count first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the stitch that we're doing right now, this row is going to be 6. So we're going to continue doing one more stitch across till we make it to the other side. Alright, so from here, we're going to do basically the same thing we did right here, where we stitch in the green, and then we do a half stitch in that gold. Just like that. And then go ahead and we should end up with 3 gold stitches left. So that's 2. And on the 3rd one, swap the color. So once you get about to here, you're going to want to do the rest in green. And just about right there. There we go. That's the ending point right there. Now, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just finished row 5. What we're about to do next is row 6. So with row 6, we're going to have to do an invisible decrease in all the stitches. So what an invisible decrease is is where you take, if you look closely, you take the front side of this stitch and then the next stitch over, and you got to be a little careful so you don't separate the threads like that, and then you single crochet through both of those like that, and then you're going to do that all the way around until you make it to the visor. So we had 18 rows to start with. When you are close to the end, you want at least, say, 6 to 8 stitches left. That's how many stitches you want to end up with. So I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This will be the last stitch in that row. Now we're going to go ahead and do a regular single crochet right here on that green, and then the same thing as we did before, where we take the green and we're going to swap it with a gold and leave some extra just tucked inside, just like that. So 1, 2, and 3, and swap the color. And then we're going to finish it off right on the other green side right here. All right, so right about here, you can see the face starting to come together. It's not looking too awful bad, and we should end up with, I believe, how many did we do? We should have, at least let me count how many we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 13 stitches left over. So if we do all of these single crochet, which, let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so once you have done invisible stitches in all of those, once you end up with these last two right here, just go ahead and do a regular stitch in the next one right there, and you're going to want to do a single crochet in the first loop right there, just like that, and do that for all of them until you make it to the other green side right here. So overall you should have 5 stitches left, and these are on the outside because these will help give the jaw that little bit of expression. It will bump it out just a little bit like that. We're going to stitch outside of it. We just need the chin to have some sort of depth so that way we can actually build it off of that. So we're going to continue doing the outside stitches across. This will be 4, and then we have 5 right here, just like that. So let's go ahead and count how many stitches we have left over. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 stitches left over. So we should end up with, we should only have to do maybe 2 more decreases and we should be at 6. So let's go ahead and just do 1 single crochet in this next stitch right here, just right there, like that. And now we can do the decreases for the rest of the stitches left. So decrease right there, that's 1, and then this one right here, like that. All right, we can pull it back and just make sure, count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we got 1 more to do. Go ahead and just take your pinky if you want to, and you can just kind of move it around on the inside so that we can make the mask pop a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there we go. We are at least in between the two, which isn't bad. So if we compare the two, you can kind of see the slant in the back, just like how it is in the Master Chief's helmet. Now from here, we're actually going to cut the gold because we don't need it anymore. My scissors are a little bad. There we go. And we're not going to need the gold for now. We're just going to need to use it for later. And let's go ahead and just undo this last decrease stitch. We're going to just go ahead and rock with 8. 8 should be just fine. It won't make too big of a difference to the overall look. Just like that. So 8 right here. And you should have it kind of like this. Now, you're going to then stuff it before you stitch it up. So you don't need to overstuff it. Just kind of add a moderate amount. You want it to be a little squishy, but just enough so that it's firm. Because we are going to be stitching a lot, and we don't want it to just be overstuffed. Yeah.
Hey, sorry to bother. I'm just trying to get my shorts real quick. I just took a shower.
Oh, I was like, I thought you were in the other room this whole time.
No. I stripped naked on the other side. Where the fuck did they go? Good job.
Alright, so once you get all the stuffing into it, this should be the last bit of it I need. There we go. Now it should look a little bit like this. You can kind of see it coming along. You're comparing it to the other Master Chief helmet. I did make this a little smaller, but that's just because I was using a different hook at the time for this one. And it should still be the same amount of rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, still the same amount of rows. So what we're going to do once we have it all stuffed, we're going to take this yarn and we're going to go ahead and cut it just like that. And then we're going to just take the yarn and pull it through so we have this extra string right here. Now what we're going to do next is take our needle and start threading it closed. Just go ahead. Oh, annoying to get it through. There we go. There. So once it's through, we're going to go ahead and expose the lip right here underneath it. If you look closely, you can see the gold that's underneath it, and that's what we're going to stitch in. So the first stitch was just a normal stitch, so we're going to go ahead and just do it regularly like that through both of the stitches. And once we have it right there, we're going to go ahead and do the next green stitch, which was the normal stitch, and go through that one. And alright, so once you get to about right here, you're going to go ahead and pull it through just like that. And then we're going to go on a zigzag pattern, so we're going to go up and down with the stitches. So we just went down, we're going to go ahead and go up in this next stitch, the gold right here you see. And reason for this is that this will help give that lip for the chin. Let me stuff the yarn a little bit further in there. Alright, so next gold stitch right here. And then go up at the next gold stitch. Now this green one should be the last stitch that we need to go into, like that. And then we can go ahead and go into this stitch right here, stitch that, and then finish it off in the last stitch right here. Yep. And then once you have it all set, you can go ahead and give it a nice pull to bring it all in together. And of course, right now it does look a little funky, but the point is to have that lip. You need this lip in order to help get the whole concept down, in order to get the whole face in. So just like that. Now, once you have that in, you can go ahead and seal this off. And one of the ways I do that is I just poke into a hole kind of close to where I just finished the stitch and just do a nice little knot like that. And then once it's sealed, I can go ahead and then just open up the hole and poke it through. And I want to make sure that it kind of matches this little top hole right here. Right about there, yep. And then just pull it through, give it a nice yank, and then just mess with the yarn, or mess with the stuffing inside, so you get more of like a shape like that. Almost kind of resembles a skull in a way, and it does take pattern of the skull, but we're not going to be leaving this lip like that. We are going to fix that. So once it's nice and packed, we can go ahead and then just cut this extra string off, and then just pat it back inside of it. There we go. Now the body part of this is done. Now what we're going to do is move on to the cosmetic areas where we'll actually see the details and definitions and all the cooler stuff onto it. So first thing we're going to want to do is the visor. We're going to take our gold and we're going to go ahead and put it on our thread here, or I'm sorry, our needle here. Once we get it in, there we go. Tie it nice and tight. Now, when we start doing this, we are going to go back. We're going to make loops, but we are going to be going like in a horizontal direction. But you can choose any side you want. I usually like to start with the side that's the most visible, which is usually on the right side of the face. In our perspective, well, left side, it's his right, essentially. So we're going to go ahead and go at the very top stitch right there, just behind that stitch. And we're going to stuff it in like that, right there. And then we're going to poke it till we kind of have an alignment, until we align it with this stitch right here. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is going to be covered up with a black, but I just like to get it as close to it as possible. It just helps prevent leaving marks and whatnot, or leaving empty spaces. So go ahead and pull just some extra yarn out. You kind of want a lot of it left over, just so that way we have plenty of spaces, plenty of yarn to make as clear of a visor as this right here. So where you want to at least do maybe I'd say three rotations in each stitch that you do. So we're going to go back into the stitch that we just did, or the hole that we just made right there, and we're going to stitch again and poke it through. It is a little difficult. Give me 1 second. There we go. Just like that. And we're going to pull it through. Just pull all the way through until we have a nice flat line like that. And you can give it a nice little tug. We're not worried about the tightness of it right now. We're just worried about making sure that it's clean looking. So that's one. We're going to go ahead and do two more. So I'm about to do the last loop. So before I finish this last loop though, I just want to show you real quick. So the two right here kind of give it a nice glow. And to keep it even, you want to make sure that the string actually stays above the needle when you pull it through. So we're going to after this last one, this will be the final one of this stitch. So we want to go ahead and move on to the next stitch under, which is, you got to be kind of close. It's a little hard to actually get to it, but you want to kind of poke right about there, and then just go ahead and continue doing the rest of those. So just right here, and that should complete that row of the stitches that it needs. Yeah, just like that. You can go ahead and cut this yarn right here, cut this end piece right here so it doesn't get in the way. There we go. Just leave some excess to tie it, because we are going to be going back to that spot. So once we get about right here, you want to just make sure that it actually still aligns just right about there, right about where the other hole would have been. And you can just go ahead and poke a new hole kind of close to it, and then just continue the process of doing three stitches in each. All right, so kind of went ahead and just did a little bit more of it. So here's what we got so far. The visor is coming along pretty well. You will see that there is some gold pieces that are outside right here, but those will be covered up once we start doing like the blackening or the outlining with the black. So this is going to be the last stitch that we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and come across right about to that final stitch. Now, before we push anywhere more, we're going to actually bring that stitch up to here, where that gold, where we first started our stitch. So you're going to have to kind of mangle the head a little bit to get to that spot, but essentially just draw it up like that, and then just pull through, and then just make sure that the string is following all the way through till you have it just like that. And there we go. And you can pat it down, squish it in place. There you go. See? And good job. You just did a visor. So this little project, this little technique actually has helped me make more Spartan helmets. I've made a collection of them. I even did one from Halo Reach. I forgot which one it was, but I'll pull up a picture right here, show you guys which one I'm talking about. But yeah, I thought that one was pretty cool. I decided to do like a blue visor, or no, it was a red visor, but like a nice dark blue helmet piece. I thought that one was really cool. But yeah, anyway, so once we're about right here, we can go ahead and cut off the excess right here. And then we're going to just make a basic knot with this. Nothing fancy. We're just going to have to make it tight is all. That way they don't come undone. There we go, just like that. And the excess right here is just to prevent it from coming out. That way we can tuck it nice and deep inside of the head. So right where we started, we're going to go ahead and just stuff it back into that same exact spot. Just move it around. It does take a little bit of some moving, pushing. So once it's in, you can just go ahead and readjust everything, squeeze it down, push it around, and just make sure that it stays stuffed inside like that. There we go. Now, once that's done, you can go ahead and take a quick look at all of it. You can kind of see it coming along pretty all right. It's looking not too bad compared to what it's going to be turning into. So yeah, it's coming along pretty well. If you made it this far, good job. I'm really proud of that. It's nice to see other people try something new, and this certainly is new for some people. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the black. Actually, no, we're going to go ahead and do the detailing. So that means we're going to go ahead and start adding like the brim, the chin, and the sides. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our green. So with our green, we're actually going to make a knot. We're going to make a loop. So you can just go ahead, come across, and take this little string and pull it through until you have a standard loop on your hook or on your string. And then you're going to take that and just get it to size. You don't want it to be on, you actually just want it to be at size. So then you're going to go ahead and take the head, and we're going to make an incision right above where this would align, the chin right here. So we're going to just slide it up and go into this very spot. But we're actually going to pop it out on the other side, right there, just like that. Now you can take the green and push it through and then make a little stitch like that. So this right here will actually help give that nice chiseled look to the face. So once we have that, we can go ahead and do two more, or just until we can make it to this little spot right here. So this is one. We're gonna go ahead and do another one further down, right about here. You gotta push through it a little bit. So this is gonna be two, and you're going to want to do slip stitches with these. You don't want to do full on crochet stitches, or hole stitches. You just want to do slip stitches like this, where you just take it and push it through like that. Because you don't, these sides right here, they're just meant to actually, so once you have your green yarn right here, you're going to want to take it and make a nice little loop with it, tie it off. And with this, you're going to want to go ahead and take your project and go just right above where the visor would be and push it in until it pokes out onto the other side. And then take your loop, grab it, tighten it down just a little bit, and then pull it through just like that until it sits right there. Now you're going to want to do at least maybe 2 to 3 loops or 2 or 3 slip stitches following this path to the chin. So we're going to go ahead and go follow the path that we just opened up right here. We're going to go and dig until we are right about here. And we're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch. Make sure that the string is still loose enough but not too tight. The slip stitches are just help us guide they just help us guide the string across, so that way we can actually keep this whole stitch process just one piece of string, because I just don't like having to cut and transfer and all that. I'm just not into that kind of thing. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead and go back to the stitch that we just were at. So this will be, this is 1, this will be 2, and this last one that we should be at will be right on this stitch right here. So bring it just as close as you possibly can and slip stitch right in there. So you should have, if you look back, 1, 2, 3 stitches, 3 slip stitches. Now we're going to go ahead and then kind of pull the chin just a little bit so that way you can get a better look at it. So we're going to go into the chin right here, and then we're going to do a single crochet stitch right there. This will help really make the chin pop, and that's what we want. We want the chin to pop. So we're going to do 1, and same on the other one. It's a little difficult to get into, so you just got to be patient with it. Just like there. Go ahead and do another one, making that 2. Three. Right here, this will be 3. You should have a total of 5. Four, and then coming up on the last one right here. 5. Just like that. Now, if you look back, you can kind of see, if you squish it and adjust it, you can see that chin pop out. That's what you want. You want that. Because when we compare it, it also just makes the face wider around the sides as well, making it more like that. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for exactly that. Wow, I'm surprised how closely that matches. Wow. Okay, so yes, we're on the right track. So once we get about right here, once we're on the last piece of the chin, we want to follow along with the same path that we took. So if it aligns with this part of the helmet right about there, right where we're about to do the brim, so we're going to go ahead and go up, following that path and slip stitching all the way through it. Oops, sorry, I didn't even have it on camera. Right there. Slip stitch it through. And then just, so that's one. No, that was two. So this will be the third one that we do. Like that. Now, we can compare the two, see if they are aligned by simply just facing it towards each other and comparing where they sit overall. So they are pretty close to each other in terms of placement. So they're on the right track. You're on the right track if that's the case. So once you get about right to here, once you have finished that slip stitch, what you're going to want to do is do another slip stitch in that same, oh, not in the same spot, but in the next stitch over. So you should have two slip stitches kind of following through like that. That's what you want right there. Now, once you have that, go ahead and count onto this side. Those two stitches right there, those are going to be slip stitches, and whatever is left on top is going to be single crochet stitches, so hold stitches. So one right here, two, three, four, and five right here. Now, so if you look closely, you can kind of see how the brim is kind of coming along. The reason why we did slip stitches on this side is so that way it kind of narrows it down, because he has that really sleek, he has kind of sleek sides, and it kind of mostly protrudes outwards. So doing it that way will just help keep it in place and not extend it out and looking like a weird cap or something. So yeah, once we have, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 5. So then we can go ahead and do a slip stitch on this one right here, on that last stitch, and then we can go ahead and do another slip stitch right on that one that we just did a half crochet stitched in between in. So once we're right here, we could then go ahead and grab and just do one last stitch to line it up right here. This slip stitch you're not going to notice all too much because this is the end. This is the final stretch of it. So once we're right about here, we're going to go ahead and then just extend it out and then just cut the excess like that, and then give it a nice little tug so that way it kind of knots itself right there. So if we look over, get a nice look at the whole thing. Beautiful. Ain't that right? Look at that. That is absolutely amazing looking. And if you made it this far, like, give yourself a pat on the back. This is really hard to do. This took me several attempts to figure out and perfect. So if you made it this far, you truly are amazing. So we're going to go ahead and just give a nice standard knot like we did before. Nothing special. If I can. There we go. Like that. And you can just give it a nice little gentle tug. And we're going to kind of push both of them right in between where they are. So roughly in between. We're going to want to kind of jam it in. It's a little tricky to get into, but once we get it and adjust it, you won't notice it. So let me go ahead and cut this extra yarn out of it. There we go. There we go, see? Like that, almost invisible. And just adjust it, and look at that. Almost identical. Just missing some major features. So, once we're done with that, we could then go ahead and use the black. So, once you have your black tied into your knot, what you can then go ahead and do is take the needle and we're going to go ahead and pull through the, you can pull the visor back just a little bit so you can see that little gap right about here. Go ahead and take the needle and pull it through there and through the other side, like so, right about there. Yeah, then you're just going to want to pull a decent amount of this yarn, because this black is actually going to be used to detail everything, the rest of the details that we're going to need. So we're going to need a decent amount of yarn. So once you have that, you can go ahead and pull it to right about here, just so it lines up with the visor piece right here. Just the back side of that. Do the same thing right there. Pull it through. There we go. Just so it looks like that. And we're going to do a couple of stitches like this, just so that way we can get a nice thick black line through. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it this way, like that. So you can take it, put it through the same spot. But instead of poking through out here, we're actually going to take it, poke it through the top where we just came in. So just a little higher up. Right there. And then just pull it through. And then just make sure that this is aligned. And then just give it a nice, decent pull. Don't want it too tight, don't want it too loose. There you go. So far like that. And then when it's right here, you can go ahead and take this one and we're going to go above it like that and give it a nice outline. So go ahead and go through the same spot as before, right here. And we're going to go down to right here. Sometimes you got to dig around until you find a spot. A little closer. Right about there. Now if any other color comes out, that's okay. You could just tuck that back in there. There we go. And then nice pull. And just help guide the string to the position that it needs to go. Right there. Just squeeze it all down. Just like that. And then just nice pull. And make sure the black is on top of the gold. You don't want them in different places. There we go, like that. And just a nice little tug. You can fold the visor back down. It does cover the black, but you know, whenever it does get lifted up, it just, you can see the outlining. But overall, just you won't see it too awful much. Like that. Then you can go ahead, go back to that same spot with the black. So that way you can get this side covered up with it. Now, what we're going to do, so we're actually going to go through this little spot right there in between the black and green. And we're actually going to take this yarn and pull it against it like that. Bring it more closer to that spot. So just align it, pull it through just about the midsection, right about where my finger's pointing at. You just wanted to poke it right through there. And then give it a nice tug. Make sure that this side is tight, like that. Perfect. Then go ahead and pull the string through there so that way it's underneath that yarn. And then you're going to go into that same loop. Pretty much do the same thing on this side. Like that. There we go, see? nice and neat. And same thing right here. There we go. Now, before we finish that, we're actually going to take the needle and we're going to poke it through the middle right here. Oops. 1 second. Right there. And then just pull it through. And then we're going to take the black and then we're going to go just slightly up. We're not going to go up like this. We're actually going to just make a nice little dent in the gold. We're going to loop it around the gold right there until it comes out through both ends like that. You're going to just take it, do one loop like this. Let me just pull it on this gold a little bit. So it looks like that. And then you're going to go ahead and just take this and pull it through and pull it through and go out to here. Oops. You go out right there. It is a little tight, so you got to give it a little bit of some force to pull it through. And then just adjust it a little bit. And then pull it. There we go. Like that. Then we're going to take, actually let me pull out the gold just a little bit more. That way you can see it better. Then we're going to take the black and we're going to go around this section again. Hold on a second. Gotta get the black. So once you're right about here, you're actually going to take the black, you're going to go through it like that across. Just one more time. Just poke it through. And where we're going to poke it through next is actually going to be on the back side. At least maybe 2 spaces, or you know what, maybe just 1 space away from this. So right there where my thumb is pointing at, just 1 stitch away. So right about there is where we're going to want it to poke out. How about there? There we go. And just give this a nice tug until it fits like so. Perfect. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this yarn. We're going to go over the first stitch. Actually, whoops. We're going to go 1 more stitch over. Like that. Pull this over. And then we're actually going to go over this stitch and under the next stitch like that. So we're going over 1 and under 2. So under 2 of these stitches, and we're going over the 1 stitch like that. And you're just going to follow through so you have a nice line across like that. Over 1, under 2. Alright, and on the last one, oops. Alright, so once you make it about to here, right on this will be the last one that you need to do. Just gonna go ahead and push it through like that. And what we're gonna do next is we're actually gonna go ahead and make these two lines coming up from the top right here. So we want it roughly in between the two stitches right there. So, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 stitches away from the middle. So we're gonna count. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna pull the string in between the fourth row right there. So we're actually gonna come up right. You gotta give it a little bit of some force. Yep, right there. Gonna pull it right through there. And as you can see right here at the back, a nice little line across. You should have at least like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You should have 6 lines across ish. 5 to 6. It doesn't matter how many. Just a nice little line at the back. And then we're going to take that yarn and we're going to come through the first 2. We're actually going to go through that stitch at the top, pull that through, and then after that one we're going to go underneath this one right here, and we're going to move it close to that same spot. So right about here is where we're going to put the next stitch, right about there. If not even more like it, right there. Oop, oop. So once we have it right about here, we're actually going to take the yarn and pull it through this spot right next to it, right that stitch. And then we're going to take the yarn and we're going to go right next to the face at the bottom right here, and we're going to make some lines, and then we're going to make another line coming through here and on the other side as well. So I'm going to go ahead first, pull this yarn till we hit roughly right about this point on the chin. So you're going to have to push through. There we go. Right about there, or on the corner. And then just push it through. And just make sure some room left on the top right here. There we go. And see, here's that top. It's got the nice two lines. And then just shape up the brim a bit. There we go. Now, we're going to come down to here. This line is at. Whoops. Where this is at. And we're going to make a stitch right next to it. We're going to feed that to the other side right here. There we go, like that. Pull it through. And make sure that this isn't tucked in too tight. We want this to pop out a little bit. There we go, like that. Right there. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a little hole right about here. And we're going to take this and we're going to push it all the way through the top and end up right about here. Right there. And then just take it, push it up, and let it sit just like that. There we go. Now, from here, we're actually going to take this and stitch it to the top one right here. And we're going to do that to the other side right here. Pull it through, and there we go. We got a little spot right there. Get this nice little lift. There we go. Same thing on this side. Take it, push it through, and we're going to pull it out through the back of the top right here because there's a little black spot at the back, and we're going to just make sure it's right in the middle. Right there. And then just a nice little tug. So it sits just fine like that. Now we're going to do just 2 loops around the center. So we're going to go behind, we're going to go over through the back right there. Same spot that we just came through. pull it. That. And then one more. And we're going to go through the top of the last loop right here. Like that. There. Just like that. We can go ahead and cut this extra yarn. And leave some to tie it off with. And then from here, we're going to make the keychain part. So we're going to go back into the hole that we just went to, right there. And we're going to go right to the very bottom of the center of where we just started from. So we're right about here. And we're going to give a little bit of room. We want some string left over so that way we can make a keychain. So right about there. And then we can go ahead, take this yarn and make a knot at the bottom. It doesn't matter what kind of knot you want to make it. You could just do a simple one like this. Feed the yarn through the loop like that, and then it's tight. And so when you pull on this, you'll actually pull on the chin, giving it the concave look like that. So it'll keep the shape. And then once you're done with that, you can take this, pull it through back to that spot where we first started. Right there. And once we're done with that, we can go ahead and just cut it, make the knot, there we go, and then we could just tuck it inside. We just remove the extra string right here. There we go. And then just move it around a bit. And there we go. You have a Master Chief keychain. And if we compare it to the other one, pretty close in design and shape. And overall, not bad. So, yep. Thank you all for coming into the channel and making this with me. I hope this was a helpful tutorial. And if you'd like to see more of this, go ahead and just leave your ideas in the comments and I'll try to make something for you. So, thank you and see you next time.